own assistant, and they're trying to stop this mouse kingpin voiced by Vincent Price. And
oh wow,
I know it sounds crazy, but it's actually it's kind of a cool movie.
Yeah.
And at the end, they have a clock tower scene that's really similar to Castle of Cagliostro, and it's really cool the way they do it too, because these two mice are fighting. Basil, who's the Sherlock Holmes mouse, and the evil mouse voiced by Vincent Price, and they're fighting on this, like on some airplane or something, and they go and they see how they're about to crash into Big Ben.
Yeah.
And they're both looking like, oh shit, and they crash, and they both wake up on the gears of the clock, and they're going after each other, and it's a really cool scene for a children's film. It's called The Great Mouse Detective.
Okay,
which I thought was a terrible title.
Yeah, it immediately makes me not want to go rent it, but after what you told me,
too
I'd like to go check it out. Yeah,
it should have been called Basil of Baker Street, which is what the books are called, but that's the one. And we're gonna do one more and make it fast here. This comes
Hit
from
and Run. He
says, and I had to read this one because he says, "Skull fuck this thought."
Oh,
this is from JJ Kool-Aid Man.
JJ,
Mr. Kool-Aid Man. Let's see what we got here.
Kool-Aid.
He says, "Whoa, that was a crazy title." But you're reading the email, so it must have worked. I guess so. You got me. Anyway, with the recent Tyler Perry movie following the same black people need Jesus formula, I've heard some troubling news from Tyler Perry about Medea's future. He said that he will be slowly taking more and more Medea out and putting more and more drama in. This scares me because it's the biggest reason his movies make money, and is why his movies that don't have Medea amount to nothing but bullshit. My question to you is this a good move, or has Tyler Perry lost his fucking mind? Also, can you think of another franchise that has taken a key character out of the movie to pursue a more dramatic, or in some cases, more comedic path? May my thoughts be put to rest after a long skull fucking.
Damn.
That's from Jordan. You know something? I cannot predict the future, so these kind of things, you can speculate on, and I'm going to be with Tyler Perry for trying to do more drama. Now, if he can, instead of complaining about taking Medea, instead of complaining about taking Medea out, I'm not worried about that. I'm all for go ahead and try to grow as a director. Try to do more drama, because some drama in your past movies have been kind of fucked up.
Well, I mean, I'm only speaking about the last Medea movie I saw where
Medea goes to jail.
Medea goes to jail, and all that fucking after school special drama was very like. It seemed like I was watching a community play.
Yeah, Derek Luke was in that thing. He was trying to cry, and he couldn't.
It was terrible. No, it was awful.
It was awful.
And taking out Medea is the worst possible thing you can do, because she's the whole reason why I'm there. And that character, for some reason, it completely works. And I don't know if when he's writing that character, that's the only character he cares about, because every time she talks, I mean, it's hilarious. It makes sense. You want to see more of it because it actually works. It gets the most laughs, and it holds my attention. Everything else that Tyler Perry's throwing in with his, black people should be in church more often, I just don't care about.
Well, see, that's what I'm thinking. I think he instead of worrying about Medea, I'm worried about that with his dramas. I'm worried about him putting more church in. Has nothing to do with my beliefs on religion or anything like that. It's just, it's unnecessary to repeat that in every fucking film.
It doesn't, and it doesn't work, because it does play very poorly. I mean, the drama is very poor in those films, but he has the comedy down. I mean, why don't you do what works? Well,
the reason why I say I'd rather see him, I don't mind him taking Medea out and trying to try to do more drama, because if he's working with the right actors, his drama is not that bad. His this last movie that he did, I Can Do Bad All By Myself, had Taraji P. Henson in it, who's a great, I'm burping and shit. She's a great actress.
I've been seeing her all over the place as far as magazines are concerned.
She is very talented, man. And he's working with her, and he had this young girl in the movie. Now I can't remember the girl's name, but she was the young 16-year-old girl in the movie. And there are scenes with her and Taraji P. Henson that are stellar, man. I mean, they are really good. And there's even some scenes where it's very melodramatic.
Yeah.
And he has another Brian White, I think is the guy's name. The guy's a good actor. So even this guy just being like, just pretty much one note villain.
Yeah.
He's a good enough actor to pull it off. You hate that guy. And I'm thinking like, okay, you know what? If he can like actually develop more drama, like with these kind of actors and take all this church shit out and everything, then he might have something. He might be growing better as a director. In Medea, in that movie, not that funny this time around.
No, really.
Had some funny scenes, but not that much. It was right at the beginning of the movie, and that was it.
Now that makes me think, like, is he throwing in Medea just to get a certain audience in there? I mean, because it doesn't make any sense to me why you would try to make a drama and you're actually putting some effort in, but you're throwing in Medea just to have her in there.
Well, that's why he wants to take her out, I guess. So he wants to concentrate on more drama.
Because he's just through that character, I guess.
I think look, you can only go so far with that character, and I think that.
See, the thing is, I don't think. Well, at least from the movies that I've seen, which has only been that one, I don't think he's done enough with that character because I think there's a lot of potential to tell it. Like, you can do almost like a Mrs. Doubtfire with that character if you wanted to. You can make it work. I mean, but you got to be a smart enough writer to pull something like that off, and. Maybe he painted himself in a corner with that Medina character, as far as just letting her just be a one-note character. I don't know, because watching Medea Goes to Jail, it seemed like two completely different movies going on. And the part that I enjoyed was her just being crazy and talking shit and, just getting upset about everything. That worked for me. The rest of it felt very amateurish, and I just didn't care for it, but that's me. So whatever the audience is that's into that, if he makes money off that, that's great. But it's I don't know. For me at least, I would like to see more Medina because I like that character, and it's not only because it's just a ridiculous character, not at all. I think half the time, her character has a lot of funny things to say, but yet she's making commentary on social issues that are actually real, and she's bringing light to it. And when you act ridiculous like that, I think people pay attention to you more, and they get the message without it being beaten over your head like he does when he just goes for his straight drama. So I think it's Medina is a good subtle way of getting your message across, so. Yeah, but,
we'll see what happens. I know he had made a conscious effort. Then his next movie is going to be based on a series of stories from black women, I think. And that's supposed to be a very much more dramatic movie. I don't think it's supposed to have Medea in it.
Oh, really?
Medea's not one of those women with black women with stories, Is
Medina is she gonna introduce the film? She's gonna be like the crypt keeper of those films from now on.
Welcome, kiddies.
Because
hello, children.
Children. Welcome. You're at the movie theater. Everybody sit down.
I got a terrifying tale for your ass.
Everyone got their popcorn. But now, as far as speaking about what his other question, as far as characters that kind of get slowly taken out of the films, the only not so much comedy, but I always think about this Pinhead. How that Pinhead in the Hellraiser series, Pinhead, in the first one he popped up, he was like the oh shit guy, he popped up, said you fucked up, and everyone in the room's gonna pay now. The second movie, which I love, Hellraiser, Hellbound 2, that character was just an awesome character. You got to know his backstory and everything. But what I hated is that series went along and went on for like 4 other movies, I think. He slowly got taken out of those films. He almost became like a Rod Serling to those films, as far as pointing out how these people fucked up and the punishment that they're going to have to now that they're now going to have to face. And that always annoyed me. Till I was like, you have this great character, and you just now he's like a side note, and why do that? Why have him? Because he's popular for a reason, because he's kind of like the intellectual boogeyman, he would tell you why you fucked up, and he'd explain to you your desires, and he'd kind of point out the ugliness in you. And that's what I loved about that character. But as the movies went along, he became background, he became like fucking an extra all of a sudden, and I hated that,
Yeah.
So, but as far as any other character, I can't think of any other characters that have been prominent and down the road just become like side characters.
There's some TV shows that they did that with. if I know back in the 70s, you had the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and Mary Tyler Moore was a comedy, and her boss, played by what's his name, Ed Asner. He had they did a show, they did a spinoff show with that character, I believe, if I'm correct, and that show was a more serious show in tone. So yeah, by taking Mary Tyler Moore out of it, she went on to do something else, and it was the same world, but it was more serious tone to it. And they used to do that with TV shows a lot, I think, with some shows. I even think they did that with some cartoons. Like they'd have one cartoon which was an action show, and then they have a character spin off from it, and it would be like more of a kiddie show. So I can't really think of any right now, but that's
thinking about cartoons. Yeah, I was like, didn't they do that with Spawn too? Like Spawn seemed like a very big character in the first season of that series, and later on in the series, they tried to turn him into a pinhead, or he would just pop up at the very end, and kind of have to dish out the punishment as to the wrongs that people were doing.
But the show never turned into. It never changed tones.
Yeah,
I think maybe if you want to compare, talking about Pinhead and comparing something like that for horror, I think they added more. They played around with the Crypt Keeper more for a comedic tone, so that they could even make a children's show out of it. Like you had Tales from the Crypt, which was a very adult show, very scary, but they softened up the Crypt Keeper. I think they instead of like calling it Tales from the Crypt, they call it Tales from the Crypt Keeper. And the Crypt Keeper was he would host a show, and he looked cuddly instead of like scary. And
he became
he
was a comedian all of a sudden instead of the scary introduction.
And he hosted a children's show. It was an animated children's show, and the Crypt Keeper would come on, and he'd have a little bit of a larger role than he did in Tales from the Crypt show, and because of that, I guess since he was so funny that they figured, hey, we can do a children's show with him. So I don't know. It definitely changed the tone to where it was like a lot softer and more funny since it was for kids, and since they want to add a little bit more of the Crypt Keeper as a mascot. So
well, if you're talking about more like that in those lines, you could say the same thing as far as Toxic Avenger and RoboCop when they turned those into cartoon shows. So.
You know what? I don't know if they took a character in or out though, and made more of them. They just switched it. And RoboCop was kind of like still an action show. It just they just didn't show as much violence when they made it a kid show. They definitely did something like that with speaking of cartoons, with Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah,
where the show was kind of a comedy action show. It was for kids, but it was a comedy action show. But then they did a spinoff with Slimer.
Yeah, that's right.
And Slimer his cartoons had a totally different tone, and they were strictly funny. They would just they weren't adventurous or anything. With Slimer, like in these little situation comedies. Yeah. So just because Slimer was the mascot, he didn't need any like going on any like crazy adventures or anything with the Ghostbusters. He would like do these cute things. So that's. I don't know if that counts or not, but there you go.
I don't know if anything we said counts.
We're reaching now. Yeah. Let me look up something. Before we go, I just want to see if Ed Asner did have this show. Okay. Because I want to know the name of this. Ed Asner also does a voice. If you want to know who Ed Asner is, for all you kids out there, if you've seen the what do you call it? The Boondocks. He is the voice of the white neighbor.
Oh, really?
That moves next door. All right. What? Lou Grant. I think they did a show on. Yeah, they did a show on Lou Grant. That and it was like because Mary Tyler Moore, I'm looking here, ran from 1970 to 1977, and Lou Grant ran from 1977 to 1982, and it was a very much more serious show. It had a lot more drama in it. So there you go. All right, kids, that's enough now. It's late, boy. It's fucking late. Getting up good.
No, we're passing out right now.
Talking about fucking Ed Asner and shit.
Talking about Pinhead.
Talking about Pinhead, just making up answers now.
Yeah, making up our own questions.
Yeah. So anyway, people, that's the show.
Yes,
it's late.
That is it. I hope you got a kick out of it.
Yeah, because we didn't. No, I'm kidding. We didn't. No, well, we'll talk to you next week. Good night.
Get to the chopper! Get to the chopper! Get to the chopper! Get to the chopper!